What were their problems as you saw them?
You know, honestly, 5 years, he never wanted to move in together. He didn't want to pay for the sessions.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to today's content. Now imagine yourself going to a therapist to ask for advice for your relationship, only to see that therapist turn around and steal your boyfriend or girlfriend. How would you feel about that? Well, hey, we're gonna find out. Here we go. Let's go.
You said that their problems were clear to you. What were their problems as you saw them?
You know, honestly, 5 years, he never wanted to move in together. He didn't want to pay for the sessions.
If both people are not equally contributing to the investment of therapy, time and money-wise, I think we're all nodding our heads in agreement that it's already kind of off.
So the therapist who stole the boyfriend is saying, hey, well, the man didn't want her. You know what I mean? So to be very, very honest with you, he didn't want her at all. He didn't want to pay for sessions. And that does make some amount of sense. I would hope people realize this. Like, if you're doing something and your spouse is not putting in some amount of effort into it, that is indeed a red flag. So I do actually agree with the judge that that's like a red flag. Even if, like, just think about a regular relationship. If you're in a relationship and you're doing all the cooking and the cleaning and the whatever else it is, and you're spending the money and you're doing every single thing, and the spouse is doing the bare minimum, they're not even trying, that's a red flag.
See, oh, he just did it again. What is that, the second time?
So I don't mind her saying that.
Does that make sense to you now?
Yes.
Okay, let's get back to you, Ms. St. Clair. So
Yeah.
you are acknowledging that that was a flag to you,
Of course,
even from
there
a
was lots of
therapeutic
flags.
lens.
Yeah.
Okay, that he wasn't contributing to the finances of the session.
He wasn't.
What else did you
He
notice?
didn't want to get married, and this is a preference, but she really wants to get married. And
Hold on. So the therapist is saying that she really wants to get married and the guy didn't want to get married. So in other words, the therapist is trying to set up an argument here. That's what she's doing. She's setting up an argument and she's trying to say, hey, she don't want you. The guy doesn't want you. Why not just step aside? You know what I mean? Like, just move to the side, go to the curb, find someone else. Maybe he doesn't think you're as attractive as you think you are, basically. That's what the therapist is saying. All of a sudden now she's coming out with that. But I just don't believe that will fly like that. Like, it feels a little harsh, but nonetheless, hey, I guess we're in a court case and that's kind of different.
he would never get to that point.
Who do you think maybe could be the right woman?
Somebody who's not pushing him as much.
After 5 years, you think she was pushing?
That's also true. I feel like after the 5 years and after trying the therapy and talking over all the issues they had, they could at least see like what's going on.
What she had been doing is basically plotting. In other words, she's taking all this information that she's getting in from the client and she's kind of using that information to work her scheme out as she goes along. Just imagine yourself having a high profile client. This is what I think she's doing so far. Imagine yourself having a high profile client that, I don't know, maybe he owns this huge company. And so you coerce him into kind of telling you exactly what you need to know as far as, insider information. And you're able to use that information to trade. That's kind of what I see her kind of doing so far. But you know what? I'm gonna leave it to reservation. I'm gonna reserve my comment for a little while.
Is it true that the plaintiff told the court that you advised a separation?
Yeah.
And why did you recommend that, ma'am?
I feel like when you hit the wall, you don't really know where to go from there.
So hold on. Let me just say this right off of the cuff. To what I know of therapy or of the field of social services, there is something called the Code of Ethics. You can look that up. And in the Code of Ethics, you have something called self-determination. So the job of a therapist is not to give you the answers. People kind of make mistakes of this because they think that the therapist is supposed to give them the answers. A therapist is supposed to look into the problems that you have with you for you to find the best answer you think that fits you. But they're not supposed to tell you what to do, if that makes sense. If they start to persuade you, you've kind of lost your own independence. In other words, you now have to rely on them each time to make a decision. And what if I gave you a decision to make and it didn't work out? Then that means that I am liable now for the decisions that you make. Do you kind of follow what's going on? You can kind of already see where she's wrong and how she's messing herself up.
It's a good thing to take a little time off.
I feel like we're missing facts here.
She kept on laughing at his jokes, only supporting Jake's side. And then all of a sudden, after we end everything, we stop therapy because she gets us to break up. Now she's dating him.
It's now it comes to full. So now you see exactly what she had been doing, how she's been using all that information, how she's been trying to see if she can plot and she can scheme, the laughing at his jokes, trying to kind of coerce him because he's in a therapy session and he's vulnerable and he doesn't know that she's basically using everything that he's saying that he doesn't like about this woman to her benefit. The therapist. That's exactly what she was doing, and that's exactly how she was rolling. Boy, she's diabolical.
She's dating who?
She's dating my ex-boyfriend, Jake, her ex-patient.
Oh, I know that's not the case.
First of all, I would say I'm not longer a therapist, and it was already like it was our last session.
Wait.
Oh, take that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Please, hold on. So she's no longer a therapist. So let's check this out. So in other words, she went to go do therapy, found a man, stole the man, and then said, you know what? I'm going to give up my license because you know what? I don't want the BBS or whoever it is, the agency that she's in, to come down on me. So you know what I'm going to do? Let me kind of just make a sprint for it with the man on my arm. That is wild.
Are you telling this courtroom that we have been talking for at least 10 minutes about your diagnosis and your treatment and your recommendations from a clinical perspective? And meanwhile, you're not even a therapist at this point.
I left it for a better opportunity. I work in the pharmaceutical sales.
Well, isn't that convenient? So after
Hold on. Pharmaceutical sales. So that's kind of what I thought she was, a salesperson. And that's the one thing a therapist is not. A therapist is not a salesperson. They're not supposed to be selling you solutions to problems. They're supposed to be listening, collaborating with what you have in case y'all are not quite certain of what a therapist is supposed to do. You're supposed to talk to them. They actively listen. They have some ideas because they're able to see whatever it is that you're going through from a second-hand viewpoint and then kind of give you some feedback into what they think you could possibly do, but not to give you the answers. But you could have tell that what she had been doing is using all of the answers to take the test herself. Oh, that's wild.
you exercised authority in a clinical way for the plaintiff in her relationship, she's telling me that you are now seeing romantically your former patient.
It was weeks after we ended.
Weeks. When the plaintiff tells me that she feels you were essentially flirting with her partner, her then partner, your now partner, I'm inclined to have to believe some of that, ma'am.
I feel like she felt like he was flirting with lots of women.
Oh, so there comes a deflection. Ooh, so you can already tell that she basically is one of those bad faith therapists. So she spent all this time to do all of this because to get a clinical license takes some amount of time. And this is what she's used her master's degree to do. And the time to get a license, now, I'm not sure if she basically has purchased this license because ain't no way you're going to spend all of this time to get your license just to like waste it on one guy. And I don't believe she's even married to the guy at this point. This is crazy. This is extremely crazy. But do you see how this is now? Now, I know for California, you're not even supposed to date your client or any past client at all because it leaves questions and it leaves you open for lawsuits. It leaves you open for a lawsuit or even to get your license taken away. But of course, clearly in her case, I mean, she already relinquished her license because she knows whatever it is that she's doing is actually wrong. That's why she did that.
It's me. That's his personality.
But
I feel
guess
like.
who? Okay, guess who had an ethical obligation to not be flirting at all?
I was never flirting with him
It
back.
was okay. All right. You said you'd been a therapist for 5 years.
5 years.
And you just hang it all up for the new boo.
That's what I'm saying. How you just hang it up for the new boo? Like all of this time, you spend this time and that's what you do? It's unclear.
Not exactly. I had this offer way before. Way before.
Well,
it
you
all
keep
started.
saying way before and all, but really we're talking about weeks.
The job offer was way before.
All right, but you do acknowledge that you received full payment of 6 therapeutic sessions from the plaintiff.
Of course.
Okay, and
So she has actually paid for sessions. So based on what this case is, the client is now coming back to say, hey, I feel like I paid for those sessions wrongly. And you can do that, by the way. You can file, I guess, a civil suit, you know what I mean, against a therapist if you feel like your therapy sessions didn't go the way you wanted to, pending that you have the time and the money and the resources to spend inside of the court of law. You know, I mean, you're able to do this. So that's what I think that the girl is doing. You know, the one that got her boyfriend taken, the plaintiff.
She's alleging that this was all fraudulent on your part
It was
because Ms. St. Clair, you were operating allegedly in bad faith the entire time.
No.
Is it true then, Ms. St. Clair, that you were more favorable during the therapy sessions towards the
No,
man?
it's not true.
So
Yeah, but you're not going to say it's true, though. Come on, think about it. She has to be more favorable. If you're laughing at his jokes, that's more favorable. If what the other girl is saying, you know, it has to be. It has. Then how do you end up with the man? If it is that you're with him right now, how do you end up with the man if you weren't being favorable? How are you able to remain unbiased if you're supposed to be a therapist, not supposed to date your clients, and within weeks after stop being a therapist, you end up with a man? That's high-level man theft.
just
I treated them the same, equally, and I was trying to help.
Well, how were you trying to help when you encouraged them to break up, only for you to resume a relationship with the man a few weeks later?
Take a
Okay,
break.
Ms. St. Clair, let's slow down. Do you acknowledge that this at least looks suspicious?
Honestly, it's a very common practice to take a break.
It's
Yeah, but it's not a common practice to steal men or to steal, you know, steal your client. You're not supposed to do that, friends. I'm just letting y'all know this. You're not supposed to. I'm sure that if we were to look this up, you're not supposed to do that. She is way off of her rockers. But you can also tell that she doesn't really care. I mean, it's one of those persons that don't really care at all as to what she's doing. You know, you have some bad faith actors, whether it's in the police force or lawyers or, you know, right now with a therapist or a nurse or what. You always have people in professions that just operate in bad faith. And that's what you're seeing exhibited in front of you on your screen.
seems to be the case that you reasonably operated, best case scenario, with bad faith. Worst case scenario, with malicious intent. Do you have any evidence to persuade the court around what you were telling us today?
What kind of evidence I can have?
What kind of evidence can you have? The notes. You know, at least present the notes to see exactly that you were not doing that. Did you have that recorded? Wow. It's the entitlement for me. It's just the entitlement for me. I don't know. It's the entitlement for me that just has me right now. If I were a client of hers within the past 5 years and I saw this, I'm definitely coming back for my money. Definitely. I'm filing a lawsuit just like this girl has filed a lawsuit. I'm filing a lawsuit just on the mere means and the mere fact that she has this much level of entitlement to say, what's a boyfriend between two girls? It's just wild. It really is wild.
Exactly. So we just are supposed to take
It's
your word?
private sessions. There's not much I can even expose.
Well,
That's not true. That is not true. Because what has occurred affects the client inside of that, in this entire scenario that's right here. Meaning the client that got her boyfriend taken because it involves her and the sessions involve her. Because the sessions involve her and lawsuit is actually about that. Then she should be able to get a subpoena to do that. The only difference is maybe she doesn't want to go for too much. And so because of that, she doesn't really have legal representation. So she's representing herself. But if she were to get a lawyer, they may have subpoenaed for records. Now, if I'm not correct, the LCSW is in the chat. Hey, feel free. Feel free to give me what you want to give me on this because, you know, social work sometimes gets very great.
what I can evaluate then is what you're saying and what this woman is saying. And I get to decide as a reasonable, smart person myself, what makes more sense. Does it make sense that a therapist who is ethically bound, you do acknowledge the ethics of your previous profession, don't you? And I am pretty sure, Elijah, that a part of the ethical obligations of a therapist of any kind, let alone a licensed one, is to not fraternize with patients, former or current.
That's true. That's true right there. That's kind of what I was saying from the beginning. You're not able to fraternize. So if you find a therapist and you know she's hot or he's hot, whatever the deal is, I don't know, man or woman, and you find him to be extremely attractive, and you think, ooh, can't wait to hit that. You can't hit it. I'm letting you know right now, you're not able to bang the therapist. I know they show these things on TV, but your therapist is not supposed to be engaging in these things with you. But some do. Hey.
So you doing so, on its face, your choice to do that undermines your entire believability, ma'am. Your credibility is garbage.
It's shot. It's more than just garbage. Your credibility is totally shot.
The court doesn't doesn't have a problem with the fact that they are no longer a couple. The court has a problem, man, with the fact that he is now in a couple with you. I believe it is a breach of your ethical duty. I cannot find you as a credible witness on your own behalf. And I have one final question, and I expect you to answer it honestly. When did your romantic relationship with this woman's man, former man, begin?
Just like I said, 2 weeks after we ended the session.
You disagree with that?
Yes, 100%. I went back into mine and Jake's shared credit card statements, and you'll see in the evidence as well. I've included it. They went on a date. They had drinks together the night before our sixth session, the one where he decided to break up with me.
So not only has this, now I like this from this girl. I like this. I like how she's basically put her things together. Now, if she had a lawyer, could she probably go for more? Probably. But I like what she has done so far by having the records of her credit card and all of that. But let's see. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm judging this and I'm jumping too far ahead of the gun. Maybe the therapist is not going to do that by going out with a client while she was doing, sessions. There ain't no way she's going to be that dumb.
I'm looking at this credit card statement. Let us all see here. Wild Rooster Pub.
Yes.
So this is a bar and restaurant.
Yes, I confronted him about it.
And you didn't go there with him?
No.
Were you there with him?
I was there, but I didn't
this is
go.
rich. Okay,
We
go.
bumped into each other. That was a coincidence.
Ma'am.
We can stop it right here. She's cooked. She's cooked. So in other words, she's basically just confessed to going to that said pub during the time while she was, giving services. While she was giving services, she was going to all of that. And if you want to know the end of the case, she did get, back her monies for her sessions. I will say this. I probably would have sued for malpractice. I would have gone a little bit further and sued for malpractice and probably, engage her in her. Usually you're supposed to have a malpractice insurance that people can claim against. And I believe that I would have gone for that. If I was in the plaintiff's shoe, the girl who is bringing the lawsuit, if I was in her shoes, I would have filed a malpractice suit against this woman. No, I'm not sure how much she's going to get from that, but I would have filed that kind of suit to see if she may have had, anything protecting her doll that I could go against. No, maybe she doesn't have one. And so that's why she decided, you know what, I'll just kind of go through with it on my own, or maybe a lawyer has advised her that way. I'm just saying what I would have done in the entire thing. But no, you can't date the therapist. I'm ready to hear from y'all. What do y'all think about this? Isn't this wild though? Can you imagine, you're trying to fix your marriage. You're trying to fix your marriage. And the therapist just decides that, you know what? Your guy looks really, really hot. And right now I'm single, and you know what? I think I'd be better for him than you would be. I want to know how y'all would react. I feel like some people would react a little bit worse. But no worries, I'm not going to judge it for y'all. How would you react in a scenario like this? Give me a take, like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm going to talk to y'all soon.